Pokemon. It has to be one of the most well-known franchises of all time. Hell, even your parents probably know about it, or even playing it. No, Grandma, you can't have my Among Us, okay? It's the only shiny Among Us I have, okay? No, wait! And when it comes to Pokemon, the one thing I love the most is the games. It's what got me into the series in the first place, you know? And it's probably the first RPG, like, I've ever played. You know, but, you know, recently the games have been... Yeah, they've been... Yeah. So, the new Pokemon games have been pretty bad. Have you played, you know, Scarlet and Violet? It's a technical mess. The whole thing is like a glitchy nightmare. Like, for the longest time, I've been wanting an open world Pokemon game. Like, genuinely wanting an open world Pokemon game. And when Game Freak finally delivers on that, it's terrible. It's a goddamn mess when it comes to textures, pop-in, or just awful frame rate. Like, look at this. Look at this. You all right there? All right. Okay. Yeah. No, it's bad. Now, there's the argument that the Switch is underpowered and it's showing its age, and that's why, you know, Scarlet and Violet don't perform as well on those systems, and if you put this game into an emulator, the game still looks like trash. Like, sure, you can get that 60 FPS and all that cool stuff, but the game just looks terrible. And it also doesn't excuse the fact that the game released in such a poor state. There are other bigger games on the Switch, okay? There's Tears of the Kingdom, there's Breath of the Wild, there's Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 1, even the first, you know, remastered one or whatever. Those games look pretty. Okay, and they run fine. I make sure Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild have its frame rate issues, but it's still a gorgeous game. You know, those games are great. Now we go back to Scarlet and Violet, and we get, you know, this. That's a lot of copium people are smoking. Oh yeah, sure, yeah, it looks great. That's fine. This is long. It's open. No, this game looks terrible. All right, this is bad. I also think it comes down to is that Pokemon, you know, I've been a sucker for Pokemon games for years, you know, ever since, like, you know, Gold and Silver. I've been playing it for years, and pretty much the games, you know, the gameplay loops never really changed. You know, they added, like, maybe a few features here and there, like some innovation here and there, but nothing too crazy. You know, it's just, I feel like it's been getting a bit stale. And then all of a sudden we get this game, Legends Arceus, which changed up a bit of the gameplay, you know? Like, the battle mechanics were completely different. Like, this time around, if you're in a fight, right, you can either choose it to be fast, like speed, or you can do strong. And depending on what you choose, if you choose the speed option, your Pokemon can sometimes go twice in a single turn. Or you can just, like, one-shot a Pokemon if you're, you know, if you're strong enough, if you do the strong attack. And I thought that was really neat. That was awesome. And then it also goes down to, like, the catching the Pokemon in Arceus. Catching Pokemon in Arceus was awesome. Like, you aim your Pokeball and you throw it at them, and it was very satisfying. And they kind of just, like, took that out in this one. Like, they should have took a lot of the things that they did with Arceus and put it into this one. Like, I know, like, somewhat, it's a decent game, Scarlet and Violet. It's not terrible. You know, it's a Pokemon game. You know, it's what it is. But it's just bland to me, you know? There's a lot of blandness to the game, and I feel like they could have just added so much more, especially with what they did with Arceus. Now that we went over the technical issues about, you know, Scarlet and Violet, let's talk about what really matters, the game. You know, is the game good? Is it fun? Is it a good time? And I'm gonna say this, and I might piss some people off. It's mid as hell, okay? It is so mid. It is, like, just okay. All right? It is... I don't understand why every single one of these Pokemon games that have released recently, like the newer generations, like Generation 7, 8, and I guess 9 now, every single villain, like enemy villain that like team is just terrible. Okay? They're just bad. Like Sword and Shield, they got Team Yell. Yeah, I'm yelling over here. That's what I yell. And I got what? Team Star? Oh my god, it's so... Oh! I genuinely, like, the Team Star stuff in Scarlet and Violet were kind of fun, but I just found, like, what's the point? You know? What's my reasoning as a player to do this? This feels so oh, because they're misbehaving and they're delinquents at school. Yeah. Yeah, I'm some, like, glorified hall monitor roaming around the world trying to police everybody here. Yeah, that's what I want to do in my Pokemon game. Now, that's not to say that Scarlet and Violet is without its good moments. Like, there's some pretty good story beats that I enjoyed, like, especially with Arven and his, like, dying or hurt Pokemon and him trying to heal it. And it moved me, you know? I was really interested in this character's storyline. Or introducing one of my favorite, you know, gym leaders, freaking Larry, baby, all right? This guy. He is the most normal guy I've ever seen in Pokemon, and you know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Honestly, Arven's storyline is probably my favorite part of the game. It was fun hunting down those, like, big Pokemon, you know, and fighting them and fighting, you know. It was a good time. The gym battles were, you know, there were gym battles. The tests were weird. Some of the tests were just weird and just boring as hell. But... you know, otherwise, they were okay, especially Larry, all right? I loved fighting Larry. That was a good time. But, yeah, the gym battles were okay. And the Team Star, it was okay as well, you know? It's just, you know, fighting the leader at the end, it was always the same Pokemon every single time. Like, pretty much the same freaking Pokemon. And, I mean, that's not, like, something different. I mean, like, if you go back all the way to Gen 1, if you fight like Team Rocket, I'm pretty sure they're using the same recycled Pokemon over and over again. But still, like, it would be nice to have something a little different. At least when it came to Team Star, I'll give it credit when credit's due that the typings were somewhat different a little bit. But still, it was kind of mundane. The other thing Scarlet and Violet did was terrestrialize, however you want to call it, when they turn into a goddamn crystal. Yeah, that... it's stupid, okay? Like, on paper, it's pretty good. It's a good thing. Like, oh, it changes the Pokemon's typing and it changes up battles. But just in execution, this thing looks terrible. Like, oh, yeah, this is what I want. I want my Pokemon to have a giant balloon on their head. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely what I want. Yeah, I want this over big, giant kaiju battles that we had in the last game. Or, you know, a really sick Mega Evolution. Yeah, no, I want a balloon. Or a light bulb. Yeah. I like the light bulb one. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Yeah, that's what I want on my Pokemon. The other thing, too, with, like, Pokemon is... what if you catch all these Pokemon? You get every single Pokemon from every single game, and you've been doing this for years. And then all of a sudden, you start playing Gen 7. You're like, oh, no, we can't take all these Pokemon. Hey, we only have this amount. You know, and it continued that trend up until like, yeah, until like now with Scarlet and Violet. It's really weird. Like, I get it with isolated games like Arceus, which makes sense with, you know, with the narrative in that game. But it also doesn't make sense for games like Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield. It's just really annoying. And there's another thing that I'm so fed up with, okay? Recently, my Switch, my first Switch that I ever had, broke. Okay, you probably know where I'm going with this. My first Switch broke, and I got a shiny new OLED, and I went to go play Pokemon on it, and I never realized it doesn't have any cloud saves. None of the Pokemon games. Zero. And their reasoning, oh, it's because players like to duplicate Pokemon. So you exclude a feature like that? That's terrible. Everything is gone. All my work is gone in these games. All the shinies that I've hunted. I feel like I wasted so much time. And I'm probably not alone in this. What kind of decision was that? Sometimes, you know, it's a portable console for crying out loud. things happen to it. You can drop it and break it, and that's what happened to mine. Mine's broken, so I just lose everything, I guess. Yeah, everything is just gone now. That's great. Thanks, Game Freak. Yeah, if you're wondering, that's the inspiration for this video. Losing literally everything in all the Pokemon games I played. Pretty much every single Pokemon game that released on Switch, I've lost all progress on everything. Yeah, that's pretty much the reasoning behind this video. I was so mad. I'm like, let me make this video to get out my frustrations, god damn it! You're probably wondering, what's the point of this video? And I made this video because I just want good Pokemon games, you know? Ever since Nintendo released their console/handheld hybrid, you know, the Switch, I felt like, oh, I can't wait to see what Pokemon games look like on this, and just being disappointed every time they released one. You know, every single time. Well, almost every single time. And just like, wow, it's like, am I ever gonna get a good Pokemon game? And you know what? Maybe we might. You know, maybe one day we might get a really good Pokemon game. Yeah, that's not gonna happen.